Apparently this is all Ryan's idea. Justin Baldoni was the one who was abusing his power? I believe this is about the Taylor Swift leak. They still don't know who snitched or how it got out that Lively—
It's like, this stuff is crazy.
Blake Lively just pulled a legal move so baffling that even seasoned attorneys are scratching their heads. What exactly is it about this subpoena that's sparking disbelief? Could it really be as pointless as experts claim? Stick around to uncover the strategy, or lack thereof, that's leaving everyone stunned.
Apparently this is all Ryan's idea. He's the one who pushed to fight back, as now Yahoo's reporting, fighting back against Candace and Perez. I just find it so funny they didn't mention me, but I'm the only one who actually has a history with Ryan. It's just what's so funny about all this, Nate, is no one considers us to be journalists. Meanwhile, the people reporting on it are dumb as bricks who do zero research, have zero intel. I've literally worked with Ryan. If anybody did any more homework, they'd know. Oh, he would have even more of a beat.
Blake Lively has built her reputation as one of Hollywood's smartest and most strategic celebrities, always calculated in her public moves. Whether it's her career decisions, her fiercely curated public image, or her quiet dominance on social media, Blake rarely misses the mark. But nothing about her latest legal maneuver screams calculated. In fact, it has attorneys questioning what on earth her legal team was thinking. The subpoena she filed has been described as not only pointless, but shockingly amateur. And yes, those words are from actual legal professionals. So, what went so horribly wrong? Before we dive into that shocking blunder, let's rewind and get a quick refresher on how subpoenas work. Essentially, a subpoena is a legal demand. It can be used to compel someone to testify in court or to produce evidence crucial to a case, such as documents, emails, financial records, you name it. The goal is to collect something specific that directly supports a party's argument. But here's the thing, drafting a solid subpoena requires precision. Every item requested must be relevant and presented in a way that legally justifies its necessity. An effective subpoena aims for the jugular, targeting exactly what your case needs to win. And yet, Lively's legal team skipped all that. Legal experts aren't just whispering about this, they're loudly criticizing it. One attorney was quoted saying the move was surprisingly sloppy for someone of her stature. Another went on to add, "It's as if they tossed a dart at a board blindfolded and hoped anything would stick." Ouch, right? Here's why this is such a big deal. The subpoena in question not only failed to strengthen Blake's position, but it also didn't appear to target anything even remotely useful. It wasn't just ineffective, it was aimless. This is rare in well-crafted legal cases, especially one involving someone as image-conscious and seemingly meticulous as Blake herself. It raises the question, did her legal team actually know what they were looking for, or were they bluffing? The missing piece? Intent. A subpoena without intention is like a car without an engine. It goes nowhere. If your legal strategy relies on uncovering certain evidence, you better be prepared to ask for the right thing. Yet Blake's team not only ignored this necessity, but they also did so in such a glaring way that it's become a cautionary tale in legal circles. Some insiders hinted this could have been a rushed decision, a strategic attempt to spook the other party. But if that was the plan, it backfired spectacularly. So what was Blake really going for with this move? It didn't look like a power play, and it definitely didn't strengthen her argument. In fact, the lack of direction has left legal analysts wondering if this case was undermined before it even began. Could it be that Blake's team missed a key opportunity the moment they drafted this? Let's explore the glaring oversight that left the entire courtroom scratching their heads.
Subpoena. How surprised were you that they resorted to this?
Well, I was pretty surprised because these third-party subpoenas generally don't go well. It's either you're sending them out just to probably intimidate the person, or you have like some real basis to send it out. So, and reading through this, it seems like it's more of a scare tactic to get information from you, or to show the world that, hey, Andy's really behind the scenes working with Wayfair. And to me, it seems that they want to put you in a position where if you say, I'm not giving you anything, oh, look, he's got something to hide. And then if you turn over everything, it's like, oh, so it's like you're kind of in this lose-lose situation. And like I just said, if you turn over everything, then you lose your sources for any other news story, right? They're going to be like, oh my God, if when pushed a little bit, he turned over all his sources. So that's the narrative they want to play. But I think right now, you treat them like mushrooms. You feed them crap and keep them in the dark, because obviously they're not sending these subpoenas to TMZ. They're not sending them to all these other places that also get these types of information. And I don't know if you remember in the Johnny Depp case. Remember when, I forgot who was the guy that went to the stand that got the information from Amber Heard, and TMZ sent a lawyer to Johnny Depp's trial to fight to have that information because he was a source, a protected source. So things like that, I think we need to call out, because right now, at the end of the day, this subpoena's doo-doo garbage. But when you got a lot of money, you can throw things out there and then make a big scene. And as you can see, they're all eating it up. They're literally all eating it up right now. So
you want to hear my theory on why they're really doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just my theory. I shout out, Anita Thinks Out Loud had a very sound theory that I'm going to spotlight here in this video. Let's figure out.
A subpoena is supposed to be one of the most powerful tools in a courtroom, a legal weapon designed to pull back the curtain and snag critical evidence. It's the ace up your sleeve to make a rock-solid case. But here's where Blake Lively's strategy dropped the ball. Her subpoena, according to legal experts, didn't aim for any of the crucial evidence her team should have been targeting. In simple terms, it was like walking into a battlefield without even trying to find your opponent's weak spot. And the bigger question everyone's asking is, why? Why file a subpoena that doesn't actually advance your argument? To explain just how baffling this is, let's look at how subpoenas have worked in other high-profile cases. Take the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial, for example. Depp's legal team left no stone unturned, subpoenaing texts and emails that painted a vivid, damning picture of their opposition's actions and timeline. Those documents, they became the game changers that swayed public opinion and helped to secure his legal victory. A good subpoena isn't just a formality, it's an attack move, zeroing in on evidence that can't be ignored. So what did Blake Lively's subpoena go after? According to insiders, nothing of value. That's right, no smoking gun, no critical records, not even a breadcrumb to lead to a bigger find. Imagine this. You're assembling a puzzle, but you refuse to grab the corner pieces that help give the rest of the image structure. That's exactly what happened here. By overlooking key evidence, Blake's team essentially handed over a subpoena that did nothing but waste time. Legal experts were stunned, and not in a good way. One insider even remarked that the decision defies logic for anyone familiar with basic legal strategies. The subpoena could have targeted a range of evidence: financial records, private communications, or even testimony from individuals with first-hand knowledge of the case. And yet, it aimed at vague, peripheral details that added no weight to her claims. Here's where it gets worse. Ignoring this evidence didn't just weaken her case, it left the door wide open for the other side to dominate the narrative. Without something concrete to back her argument, she turned what could have been a powerful legal move into a missed opportunity. Think about it. In a courtroom, perception matters, and filing a poorly constructed subpoena can signal that your case isn't as strong as you want everyone to believe. What's even more puzzling is how her public statements about the case amplified this misstep. Legal insiders are pointing out that her media remarks might have hinted at the very evidence her team should have been requesting, but completely ignored. This kind of inconsistency is what many are calling the true Achilles heel of her case. And while the subpoena was a fumble, her words might have sealed the damage. But just how harmful were those remarks? Let's take a closer look at how Blake Lively's own media tactics ended up sabotaging her from the inside out.
I believe this is about the Taylor Swift leak. They still don't know who snitched or how it got out that Lively Camp allegedly threatened Taylor Swift about the communication. They're hunting for the source. This was a huge reveal. Reveal that allegedly it's Scott Swift, her own father, who talked to Friedman, etc., to tip them off.
Wow.
Now, how did they get that? Candace was the one who sort of broke that and was the first one to sort of say it. So good theory as to why they want to figure out who's she talking to. Regarding me, yeah, I'm doing a documentary. I've talked to a lot of cast and crew. I've not been shy about that. Even released a trailer where we had to have the crew in a mask, Nate, to hide their identities. I've promised not to reveal their identities. And technically, I guess they're Wayfair employees, right? Because it's a Wayfair picture. It's a whole can of worms that I can't open. So there it was. They want to know what was shared. And then Perez, he confirmed something major about James Vishuka, who might not only expose Leslie Sloan's alleged smear tactics, but also has direct info about how they were planning hit pieces on Baldoni back in August. So all three of us had recently kind of got wins. You know what I mean? Like got people from the other side to actually whistleblow and reveal the truth. And I don't think they like that. I don't think they like that. That's my theory. Again, just a theory for now. But what do you think? Does that seem potentially sound? Could that be?
It does.
Could that be them trying to save face? You think to cause this
It does.
uproar?
Yes. It makes total sense. But don't forget, they're trying to push. I don't think this is really for the courtroom. I think this is for the public at large, because they're trying to say that all these outside forces are connected and essentially this conspiracy theory that everyone's trying to go against them. But I just don't think it works. And I think right, when you're doing this documentary and you're speaking to cast and crew and getting these tips, then it's kind of like, oh my God, what has he learned? Who is he talking to? That type of thing. And even if you were to tell them, they're going to put pressure on those people.
Blake Lively has always been a master of shaping public perception. Whether she's promoting a new project or crafting her image as Hollywood's ultimate girl next door, she knows how to use the media to her advantage. But in this legal case, her words may have done more harm than good. For someone so savvy, it's surprising how her public statements seem to directly contradict the strategy behind her subpoena, leaving legal experts and fans alike wondering if she accidentally sabotaged her own case. Before the subpoena ever hit the courts, Blake made headlines with a few choice quotes about the situation. She hinted that the truth was on the verge of coming out, claiming she had irrefutable evidence that would turn the tide of the case. Bold words, right? But here's the head-scratcher. The subpoena her team filed didn't even target the kind of evidence she implied she already had or was about to obtain. On one hand, her statements suggested confidence in her claims. On the other, her legal actions painted a completely different picture, one of uncertainty and, frankly, a lack of direction. It's the kind of inconsistency lawyers on the opposing side could dream of. Now, here's why that's a bigger deal than it might seem. Public statements, especially by someone as high profile as Blake, are fair game in court. Lawyers can use those sound bites to poke holes in arguments or even question the credibility of the person making the claims. Essentially, her public remarks became ammunition not for her side, but against it. It's a basic principle in high-stakes legal battles that anything you say outside of court can, and often will, be used against you. Yet Blake's team seemed oblivious to this, as she kept making comments that contradicted the actions her lawyers were taking behind closed doors. It's like sharpening a double-edged sword that ends up cutting you instead. Think about it this way. Celebrities often rely on the media to win over public opinion when they're embroiled in legal drama. Blake admittedly did the same, projecting an image of someone who was confident and in control. But when there's such a glaring mismatch between what you tell the public and how your legal team proceeds, it raises red flags. The other side doesn't even have to look for inconsistencies. You hand them out on a silver platter. And here's the kicker. These media missteps were just the opening act. Her statements not only undermined the strength of her subpoena, but also revealed a disconnect between her narrative and her legal team's approach. However, these weren't the only blunders that had legal experts talking. Behind the scenes, there was a procedural slip-up so fundamental, so glaring, that it could have been avoided by even the most inexperienced lawyer. And yet somehow it wasn't. So what exactly did Blake's team miss that had attorneys everywhere calling it unforgivable? Let's break that down next.
Also just funny to me, and we mentioned this before, like they're asking, we demand to know this statement, this connection with below Google Doc and where'd you get it from? It's like, it says right there. It says literally on screen where I got it from. And this very statement was the same statement. TMZ, People, all listed. Are they getting subpoenaed, Nate? Why am I being singled out? Is this ridiculous? Am I crazy? What are your thoughts?
Well, one thing though, about this statement, number one, if the statement wasn't signed, if this was like then maybe you have an argument, but even though I still think you'd be covered by reporter's privilege, and there's an issue with reporter's privilege federally, but I would still think you're covered. But here again, it says the source's name on the document. So so why am I asking for communications where, okay, here is who I got it from. You have who he has it from, and then you can subpoena that person who's, I'm assuming, is a Wayfair employee to get all the information.
That's Brian Freeman. That's the lawyer.
Yes, but so are they trying to backdoor the lawyer? But the lawyer signed it. right? So there's no need to get your messages to tell you something that's already on the source, and the fact that all these other sources get it. And that's another argument, right? Yeah, you can get that from TMZ because obviously you're feeding them information. You fed them Andy's subpoena, right? You fed them all these other subpoenas before they got them. So obviously you had this information, but they don't want to do that because obviously TMZ will fight tooth and nails against it. And they didn't expect you to have the funds and resources in the community to come together to help you fight for your rights.
Yeah, it's wild because Harvey Levin came out pretty early when all this went ahead. He like shot a warning shot across the bow. He was like, we've had both sides reach out to us, like kind of wink, wink. Like he kind of admitted, like, you're both in a PR battle. You've both been using us. You've both given us stuff to leak. Keep us out of it. And that's what's so frustrating about this case, that Blake is trying to play like she isn't doing her own retaliation campaign when she clearly is with Ryan. They both are teamed up, again, as these sources are saying, to flip the narrative. And it's all about the PR battle. They're saying Ryan's treating this like a movie script and creating this is call sheets and like literally doing this whole place thing. This is all his idea to fight back. Damage control, storyboard, strategy. This isn't just about justice, it's about taking back the narrative, a source claimed. This is about power, and Ryan's making sure they keep it. I mean, honestly, I've worked with Ryan, as I've said numerous times. I liked Ryan when I worked with him, but this all makes sense. He is very much in control when you look at what happened with Tim Miller and TJ. There are a lot of people that he's managed to piss off, have turned against him, and then he quietly comes back and, oh, I'm so sorry. Then because he's Ryan Reynolds, they all fawn over and fall back into his control. But it's clear to me more than ever, this is all about power. This whole case was about power, and who actually had the power is a very interesting part of this story, which we talk about in our documentary, even its own trailer, which I can't imagine they liked us going there. What is your opinion on that as we wrap up? Your final thoughts? This whole It Ends With Us lawsuit. Do you really think Justin Baldoni was the one who was abusing his power?
No. From, again, all the information I've seen, because I haven't seen everything, it seems like Blake Lively has a bone to pick with this guy, and obviously Baldoni, and she wants to have her pound of flesh. But when it came out in the media and he started fighting back, I think that really hurt her argument. And I definitely want to mention one thing for, again, this is not legal advice to anyone who ever gets a subpoena. But what I do want to say is that, especially for journalists, the first thing people ask is, why is it harder?
Blake Lively may be a Hollywood powerhouse, but her legal team's blunder was something straight out of a beginner's playbook. Imagine a mistake so blatant and avoidable that even first-year law students, not seasoned professionals, would shake their heads at it. That's exactly the level of oversight we're talking about here. So, what did Lively's team miss? The error lies in something called document authentication, a cornerstone of almost any legal proceeding. Without it, even the most convincing evidence can crumble under scrutiny. And yet, that crucial step wasn't taken. Here's the thing. It's not enough to simply demand documents or evidence in a subpoena. Any evidence obtained needs to be formally verified, authenticated to be admissible in court. This ensures that the material is what it claims to be. If a lawyer presents an email exchange, for example, the opposing side has every right to challenge its legitimacy. Was it really sent by the person alleged? Could it have been altered? Authentication answers those questions, removing doubt. It's a basic requirement that anyone familiar with legal strategy wouldn't dare to overlook. Yet Blake's legal team ignored this fundamental step, leaving the evidence they submitted open to disputes, and, in turn, weakening their case further. The consequences of skipping this step are enormous. Without authenticated evidence, Lively's team essentially handed the opposing side a free opportunity to dismiss critical claims, or, at the very least, to cast doubt on them in front of the court. Legal insiders were floored by the mistake. One legal commentator summed it up saying, "This kind of slip-up derails your credibility. It's amateur hour." And they're right. In high-stakes cases like this, credibility is everything. Once you lose that, every argument you present becomes harder to defend. To highlight just how costly this oversight is, let's take a quick look at other recent cases where authentication made or broke the outcome. In the legal battle between Elon Musk and Twitter during the buyout disputes, document authentication became a key factor. Musk's team meticulously verified communications between executives to bolster their position. That attention to detail proved game-changing. On the other hand, cases where authentication wasn't prioritized, like that messy Theranos saga, ended up as cautionary tales with unverified claims and evidence dismissed right out of the gate. Blake's team should have known better. But this mistake isn't just about bad lawyering, it's part of a larger pattern revealing cracks in her entire approach. Think about it. Forgetting something so fundamental isn't just an oversight. It suggests a lack of coordination, a rushed strategy, or even plain carelessness. This isn't just embarrassing, it's catastrophic in the courtroom. So here's the big question. Was this really just a misstep? Or does it hint at something deeper going on behind the scenes? Could Blake's entire legal strategy have been doomed from the start? Let's unpack what might really be at play here. Blake Lively's legal missteps have left fans and experts questioning if there's more to this story than meets the eye. Could her baffling strategy be a byproduct of something unraveling behind the scenes? From filing a subpoena that failed to target essential evidence to skipping basic procedural steps, it's hard to ignore how out of character these decisions feel for someone known for being so meticulous in her career moves. The disconnect between her public narrative and her legal strategy only adds fuel to the speculation. It's a stark reminder that even the most polished celebrity personas often mask vulnerabilities and misjudgments. This case might become a turning point, highlighting how public figures can no longer rely solely on image control when legal battles come into play. Could this signal a broader shift in how Hollywood handles its legal drama? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This isn't over yet.